What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drew B. Wilson, with more than 2 decades in sales. I've been through it, seen it, heard about it. Now I'm bringing it to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community. Because let's be honest, this is the greatest job of all time. Doesn't matter where you come from, what personality, what background, you can carve out a pretty amazing life in sales. And today's guest is no stranger to the journey. I need y'all to welcome my friend, Mr. Aaron Hendon. What's going on, my friend?
Yo, Drewby, it is great to be here. It's a great day in Seattle. It's end of summer, beginning of fall, last drips of sun that we're all hanging on to out here. So it's a good day.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you being here, sharing a little bit of your time and wisdom, man. I want to jump right into it. I want you to tell me your craziest sales story.
Well, craziest is hard, but so this just happened, and I think it's definitely worth listening to because I'm a managing broker of a real estate team, sales, and I get a call from someone, and I get these WhatsApps all the time. Hey, I want you to list a property for me. I've gotten scammed before, like listed properties that didn't belong to the person. Anyway, I'm on high alert for stuff like that. And the guy has a thick Indian accent, and he wants information about a listing that I'm selling that it's supposed to have a review, an offer review date the next day. So it was on the market for a week. We were going to look at offers the next day, and he hasn't seen it, and he wants to buy it, and he's cash, and he's saying all the right things, except really, this isn't. And I was so far down the road, I did not think this was a real deal. Like I was like, all right, fine. Look, I need to meet you. I'll meet you there at 2:30. And I had to talk to my client and let him know, listen, I got one offer. It's full price, which was disappointing to my client because we had wanted a bidding war. But I said, look, one offer, full price. There were like 3 people that came through in the open houses. It was not very busy. That's a really good deal. And by the way, I'm meeting someone else at 2:30, but I just think it's a scam. It's all too good to be true, and I don't really know. But hey, you pay me to do the due diligence, and it doesn't cost me that much to go meet him, so I'll go meet him. And sure enough, I go meet him, and it is a real dude, and he really wants the house, and I turn him over to my other agent because I'm not going to represent both sides. So I turn him over to another agent, and he comes back with, and I can now get a bidding war going. I got 2 offers. The house, I think we listed it, I don't know, whatever it was, $698. We got it up to $751. Cash, no contingencies, nothing, done deal. By this guy, he was like, I don't care. Let me just, and it was really, I was about 15 seconds from hanging up the phone for him when I was commuting in. I was like, no, this is not a real dude. It just doesn't cost you that much to just hear, as long as if I'm going to meet him, I'll do my due diligence, but it doesn't cost that much just to see how it plays out. And that's how it played out. I had to call my client back that night. I was like, all right, 2 questions for you. Who's your favorite realtor? And then how much do you think I got you? And they were like 715, 712. I was like, no, 751. It was excellent.
Jeez.
Yeah, from the morning where I was like, no, you should be happy with 698. That'll be great. Because they should have been.
Well, and that's the craziest thing because I'm not a real estate agent, but I've worked with hundreds over the years. We literally just sold our house back. It is September when we're recording this. We sold our house in May of 2024, and so it was one of those things where when we originally bought it, the realtor that we used to buy it was like, we're at the top of the market, but this is the time you got to do something. So do what you got to do.
Pay to play.
And we played the game. And then, 2 years later, things changed in our life and we had to move and make a decision. And when we put it on there, we too were like, no, we're going to get a bidding war. This is going to be awesome. And then it was a week went by, nothing. 2 weeks went by, we dropped it, nothing. Then she was like, well, I'll do an open house. And then we did an open house and it absolutely downpoured and rained like cats and dogs. We were just like, oh no. When you have a mortgage and you're paying it and you're not in the house, because my family lives in an RV now. We sold it and we moved into this RV. you're so grateful to have someone in your corner who's like a straight shooter.
Yeah.
Listen, hey man, we got one offer at full price. Let's just be stoked and take this thing to the bank.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hurt to always be open to opportunity. And what I really appreciate about that story, and I know I have been way guilty of in the past, is like you said, judging a book by its cover. It's like, hey man, this just sounds way too good to be true. And the scary part is a lot of times when it sounds that way, it is that way. But we still have to explore. And so as you go through this process, as you start having this conversation, you get to the closing, how do you take that back to your team then and help them understand how important it is to keep pushing and to explore all of those opportunities? Because, I mean, I'm sure not everybody would have done that.
You broke up, so I didn't get your question.
Oh, man, dang. The storm's coming through.
Your question was, how do I take it back to my team? That I got. Is that the whole question?
Yeah.
Okay,
so that's it, man. So you have this experience about, dealing with that. How do you take it back to your team?
Well, as it turned out, I was in the office the day this happened. So I was commuting I don't always go in the office. But I was on my way to the office where my team gets together and we do phoning together. And they heard me have the entire conversation with my client. And I have to explain to them, look, the market is not what it was when we bought your house and da-da-da. And this is just not the same reality. This is a good offer. And I'm going to take the time to do that due diligence on that. So one of the things and they heard the whole thing, which was just, so they were mind blown the next day when they found out how the thing panned out. The message, the communication that we create with the team, that what's important for the team is, I work for my clients. Everyone talks about sales, be your own boss or whatever. It's bullshit. You have now a million bosses. Anytime you own your own business, you now have everyone's your fucking boss, right? And that's the way that is. But that's my employer. My client. I have a fiduciary interest to get them the best offer. I don't get to just say, no, that's not worth my time. I don't get to say that. That would be a dereliction of my duties. That's just unacceptable behavior. No. Now, I got to do my due diligence. I got to find out, is this real? So I did. I looked up their bank and I spoke to their banker and I looked them up on BIN Verified. And I was like, who are these people? Because if my spidey senses go off, and I told my client, I said, this is unlikely to pan out because my spidey senses are going off, but you're paying me an awful lot of money. And I will absolutely do everything I can to get you the most money for your house. So I will meet this person there. And if it turns out to be real, okay, bueno. And if not, it was an hour of my time. And frankly, my time is your time. I'll do it. That's how we just work for people. That's how it goes.
Aaron, I really appreciate you sharing that. And I'm gonna go into something right now. And real estate agents that are listening, you can hate me for this, but I say this with the utmost amount of love for you and want for you to be successful. But here's the deal. The majority of you are extremely lazy.
Completely.
The statistic that I looked up is 2% of agents nationwide transact 98% of the homes bought and sold every single year.
Yep.
And I have personal friends who I have chatted with recently who have been trying to sell their homes. And when I've asked them, hey, did you do an open house? Did you do this? They say, oh, my realtor said that wasn't a good use of their time, that it wasn't going to help sell the house. And I'm like, do you understand that by law, they are required to do the exact things that they said they would do to help you sell your home, and that if they don't, you have the right to kick them to the curb?
Yeah.
And so I don't know how you deal with that, Aaron, but have you ever met agents like that just absolutely refuse to do what they need to do?
Well, all right. So there's two things in that. Okay. So the open house really doesn't help sell the house. Okay. Just between one thing and another.
Thank you.
But if I said I was going to do them, goddamn right, I'm going to do them. So just so that if there are realtors listening, they know, I know. The whole purpose of an open house, and I tell my clients, the purpose of the open house isn't to get your house sold. It's to get me more clients, because that's how realtors meet people that aren't represented.
Which is funny, though, because ours sold at the open house. We pushed ours to an open house, and the last person that walked through the door bought it. And that's just one of those crazy coincidences.
Exactly. So it's look, they're not a bad thing to do. They're just not reliable. And I do them on the first 2 weekends every time, because I want to meet new people, and it's fine. So your question really is, have I met lazy agents? And Of course. I mean, really, 98.2% do 98% of the deals. It's even if you got it down to 80/20, just the,
To be fair.
80
Sure.
20 principle. It's that way. Most agents do 2 or 3 deals a year. I've written a couple of books about this. Not all agents are created equal and shortchanged by shortcuts. And the truth is, first of all, why I loved your show and why we got connected is because call the damn leads. That's the expression of the laziness, right? That happens with agents is when they come on our team, so many are like, "Oh, you have free leads," and we do. We pay for leads, and there are leads in a database. There's 5,000, but you gotta call them. I mean, when we get new agents on the team, Juby, they're blown the fuck away when I tell them what it takes to succeed in the business, which is okay. When I got in the business in 2013, I got my license in May and I didn't sign on to a team till October, which means I did nothing between May and October. Because without a team, God bless you. If you're a different kind of human that you can just go out there and do, and people do, it's great. But I like a team environment. But from October, November, December, January, February, that's 5 months. I sat on the phone from 9 or 10 in the morning till about 5, 6 at night, dialing, no deals, calling people, speed dialing sometimes, door knocking sometimes, but I would be on the phone for 6 hours, whatever, 6 hours a day, something like that, phoning with no deals getting done, but building up a reservoir of leads that had talked to me, that were getting follow up from me, and I've done 2-3 deals a month every year since. But that 6-month block of putting in the work, no one wants to work. Everyone wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. And that's why agents do 2 deals a year, because those aren't leads. Those people don't want to talk to me. They say they never filled out a form on Zillow. They say, where'd you get my number? Okay, then you hang up the fucking phone and call the next one.
And then call the other person next month because they're going to forgot they already talked to
They're
you. And then
forgot
they're going
they
to be like,
talked
yeah,
to you.
I 100% filled that out. And I would love to do it. And you're like, am I
100%.
talking to the same person? You are.
100%.
That's why the buyers are liars fun. It's so funny to say that, and we joke about it, and we shouldn't, but it's the truth, because people will do everything in their power to avoid doing the thing they know they need to do. And that is both from a prospective client side to an actual employee side doing the damn work.
I'm like that. I fill out forms all the time, shiny object forms, and then they call me. I'm like, I can't believe they're fucking calling me. Why are they calling me? I don't want to talk to you right now. I do that. So I have a world of compassion for those people. And I just, great, no problem. I'll get back to you in 6 months, whatever. Follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. It's all follow up.
And that's the name of the game right there. And that's what I really appreciate about, our getting to build our relationship and kind of watching some of the content that you've shared with me, because, we've been connected for a little bit. And it's just, that's it. There's no secret to success.
There's really
the people that are selling you the secret to success are the ones that are scamming you, and they're selling you a bunch of nonsense and the too good to be true. And the guys like you and I that are out here just going, hey, man, if you'll pick up the phone and call 100 people a day for the next 6 months, I promise you your entire life will change.
100%, without a doubt. And that doesn't mean texting. It means calling. Texting is not, if you ask anyone on my team, my flag is texting is not communication.
Come on.
It is not. You cannot hear them. They cannot hear you. It's fine I'll be there a half hour early, or I'll be a little bit late, or are we still on? Great. Things like that. If there's multiple, like I have one deal, I have one listing right now, and it's 3 siblings. They're all in a text thread because it's the easiest way to get them there. But if there's something for real that needs to get discussed, I shoot a video and I throw it out to them on BombBomb. I'm like, it's just, you can't get a communication on a text.
Well, and one of the things that and this is why when I wrote my book, Call the Damn Leads, I called it Revolutionizing Sales and Follow-Up in the Digital Era.
Yep.
Because what I have experienced, Aaron, is that when I'm going through my sales process, I like to ask my prospective clients, hey, what made you decide to reach out? Because I don't cold call people. I don't just randomly call people for no reason. Like, you filled out a form. There's no reason I've got your name, phone number, mother's maiden name. Like, let's not fool around here.
Right.
And then I'll ask them, would you prefer to speak on the phone or chat via message?
100%.
then you give them the chance. That's it.
Totally. Then you're golden because you've made a human connection. And that for me is everything.
Yep.
Is it's got to be a human connection where our job as salespeople, and I've sold courses, I've sold signs, I've sold coffee, I've sold bagels, I've sold lots of different things. Okay. People buy from people they like, know, and trust. Period. My favorite saying was, all things being equal, they will buy something from someone they know, like, and trust. And all things being unequal, they will buy something from the people they know, like, and trust. They will only buy if they know, like, and trust you. They will only trust you and only like you if you are authentic and there for them. You cannot be there for you. And that can't get communicated on a text. They have to know you have their back. Whatever they need, you're going to provide. And sometimes I'm not the right fit for them. Good. Well, let me find out what is the right fit for you. I don't know. All I want you to do is get the best deal possible. And I don't want you to wind up with the wrong agent. I don't want you to wind up with some schmuck who is going to not do the work, which 98% of the people are not going to do the work, discount brokers and stuff. Okay, well, my listing appointment starts with, well, it doesn't start with, but it includes when they get to how much is your commission, especially now with the whole fucking NAR thing.
Golly, gee willikers.
How much is your commission? I say, well, look, I'll tell you, but you should know right off, I am not the cheapest option. If you're looking for the cheapest option, I'm not it. And I just let that sit for a minute.
I like to pull, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I like to pull out the little triangle chart that's like good, fast, cheap.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can have 2 out of 3, and you tell me which 2 out of 3 you want, baby. I'll give them all however you want it. Let's go.
Yeah, and that languaging is critical. It's not I'm not the least expensive. It's I'm not the cheapest. And because nobody likes cheap. Nobody says I'm the cheapest. And if they do, thank you for saving me the time.
I want to lean in on that for a second because I think that's something that a lot of sales professionals, especially when they're newer in the game, and so this would be really valuable for newer agents who are still listening, even though I rip on you guys constantly. And it's like in that scene in Basketball when they're ripping on their friend, and he's like, I swear to God, if you rip on me 13 or 14 more times, I'm out of here. Right. So big love to all my realtors that still listen in. But how do you get people to focus in on not being it about themselves when they start in the business? Because like I know commission breath is a serious thing. So how do you get people through that?
Several different things are important there. And the biggest opportunity is in mindfulness, is in getting yourself grounded in what you really care about as a human being. What you, Drewby, as the salesperson, if I was coaching you as the salesperson, I'd be like, okay, what do you really care about as a human being? Our originating intention for our team is creating connections that bring forth the miraculous. And that's where we stand, is that we're creating connections that bring forth the miraculous. So that space of bringing forth the miraculous is not woo-woo as it sounds. It's that deal I shared about earlier was bringing forth the miraculous. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to create a connection and let's bring forth the miraculous. And we did. Grounding the agents in, okay, this is who I am as a human being. This is what matters to me as a human being, because nobody, not you, not me, gets up in the morning and thinks, I can't wait to get on the phone. Nobody thinks that. And they think they're supposed to want to get on the phone. You're not. You don't, and you're not supposed to. That's not the point. The point is, do you have a better way to reach out to people and convey the value you have? If you have a better way to do that, then you should do that. But the phone is the easiest, simplest, widest net you can cast to get that done. I mean, you can get leads through the internet, through Facebook ads and whatever, right? And Zillow and all the different ways that leads come in. For you to convey your value, it's got to be human to human. And then you can discover, is there a match between their values and your values? And we talk about your value as a human being more than anything. And that will defeat commission breath, because as a human being, they care about people. And if you don't really care about people, you shouldn't be in sales. That's why salespeople have such a shit reputation in the world, is because the common way of looking at people, the least popular is used car salesman. It's like, hey, what's it going to take to get you in this car today? But we don't sell houses. We sell ourselves. The three values that we share on the team is my value for our clients is educate, advocate, negotiate. That's what you're paying me for. Educate, advocate, negotiate. Educate you on what's happening in the market. This is a good offer. This is the way the market is. Advocate, I got your back. I'll take every available thing. And then I'm better at negotiating, because negotiating is something in our culture slightly less attractive than eating insects. It's something we don't do. Right? Agents don't like to negotiate. No one likes to negotiate. But that's where the money is. That's my job. That's how we defeat commission breath, is we connect people to their calling, to what matters to them as a human being, who they are, what they're out to fulfill on. Because nobody on their deathbed ever thinks, oh, God, I wish I did 2 more sales. Nobody has ever thought that on their deathbed. What are you going to think on your deathbed? I wish I was at more baseball games for my kids. I wish I had taken better care of my family. I wish I had communicated more with my spouse, how much I love them. Good. That's what we're going to focus on. We're going to build that up. And that's who's going to be communicating to people. And they're rock stars when they're connected to that. And they get interested in what the other person is dealing with. Good. Now that's who you are. Now uncover that for them.
You know what? I want to touch in on something there that like brings that all together, though, because you said, hey, our whole mission is helping to bring forth miracles. Well, when 2 people can come together, if one can put 1,000 to flight, 2 can put 10,000 to flight.
Totally.
So when you can come together and communicate, and that's where miracles are created, because without that communication, without that connection, there isn't a transfer of energy. And honestly, for any miracle to occur, there has to be a transfer of energy. So I love that mentality and that mindset, because it truly helps people understand that even in the worst of worst situations, if they just show up with the mindset of serving their people, everything's going to work out. Miracles always find a way to happen exactly when they need to happen. But if you're banking on a miracle, it ain't going to be there.
That's 100%.
It only comes through when you lean in and you just do the things day in and day out that lead to miracles. And funny enough, picking up the phone, calling the damn leads, having conversations, that's the kind of stuff that leads to the, oh my gosh, we closed this big deal, and then I had 6 closings in 1 month, and this is the biggest Christmas my kids are ever going to have, and what a miracle this is. But you know what it was? It was a guy like Aaron who came in and said, hey, let me just show you the path. Let me lay this out for you. Let me give you the ideas and the processes.
And you had enough conversations. And sales is brutal like that. I mean, you're going to have 98 no's before you have the yes. There's, oh God, who's the Wallace? I think it's Wallace Stevens. I'm not 100%, but one of my favorite poems is, after the last no, there is a yes. And upon that yes, the future of the world depends. And that's my job, is I have more invitations than you have no's, period. I just have more space than you have no's. I will get all your no's. And when you have a yes, I'll be there. And that's follow-up is the whole deal, is can you be there for them when they are ready? Especially in my business, where people do transact once every 10 years. I got to be there for them. And, here's a statistic that you would love in my business, right? Along with that 98.2 statistic is 95% of people say they would use the same agent again, and 17% do.
That's a very interesting statistic, actually. I never knew that. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
95% would
say they would, and only 2% do, or 17% do. Why? Because once we close the sale, agents are shitty at staying present for those people. And when it comes time for them to transact again in 7 years, you're not the first person they think of. Well, that's your fucking problem. You didn't do your job for 7 years. So one thing I do, I'm big on relationships, right? Obviously that should be apparent by now. So I don't spend money on online leads. I do almost all referrals and past-based clients. And so so I took a bunch of people to a baseball game 2 weeks ago, took 30 clients to a baseball game, spent like $1,200 on tickets and invited them and their friends to baseball games, and we went to see the Mariners play the Yankees because fuck the Yankees. And I had someone show up, and I bought their house 9 years ago, and they have come to no events. They've been invited to every event, so that's at least 6 a year for 9 years. They've been invited to cards, texts, calls, pie giveaways, all kinds of stuff. They've never participated in anything, and they showed up at the baseball game. I haven't seen them in 9 years. And there they were at the baseball game. Now, they sell their house. Who are they calling? What are the odds that they call me? It's not 100%, but it's certainly not what it would be if I didn't invite them to every event for 9 years, right? It doesn't cost me anything to invite them. I have 150 whatever people that got invited to that baseball game, and 30 of them came. Okay. A lot of people are like, I can't invite everybody because it's going to cost me too much. No, fuck no. They're not all going to come. Very few of them are going to come, but they all want to be invited. And now I have a reason to call them. I have a reason to send them a card that's not real estate. I have a reason to call them to see if they're coming. That's not real estate. I have a reason to be there with them. That's not real estate. I have a reason to follow up after the game with them to say, here's thank you to everyone who came. That was great. And none of that's real estate. It's all personal. It's all relationship. It's all, these are my people. And it's a great business if you can follow up with people like that, because for sure for the next 3 months, anyone in their circle that talks about real estate, they have them call me. I just got a text today from someone who was like, I invited my friend to give you a call, who was at the baseball game. I do one of those deals, it pays for the whole game, it pays for the whole thing, all of them. And they're all going to give me deals. I wind up doing half a dozen deals in the next 12 months out of that baseball game, I promise.
That's the thing people are missing, though, Aaron. They're not looking at the long term of the seeds they're planting and then nurturing those seeds along the way. I see so many professionals that make the mistake of like, man, I'm everywhere. I'm at this event and I'm meeting this person and this person and this person. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but it's kind of like you're wandering through the forest just dropping seeds everywhere you go, but you're never going to go back and harvest any of the things that you've done. You're literally feeding everyone else around you, but leaving nothing for yourself.
That's right. You can't just do lead gen. You got to do lead follow-up. It's got to be, you got to block time to follow up with those old leads. Otherwise, what's the point?
Aaron, that said, man, I bet we could spend all day nerding out, chatting about sales, chatting about the processes, and having fun, helping more people become successful. I know I'm going to come and follow you more. If someone listened to this, they enjoyed the show, they want to check you out, what's the best way for us to come and find your content?
You go to aaronhendon.com. I do mindfulness training for sales professionals. And the beauty of mindfulness is exactly what you talked about commission breath. Commission breath is when your attention is on you, you're worried, especially for new agents. We get worried. Sales professionals are an eat what you kill kind of business. No safety net. Super easy to get worried. Super easy to get obsessed with where's the next deal coming from. And if you go into a meeting with that mindset, it's over. Forget it. Fuck it. No one's doing business with you. Mindfulness and taking 10 minutes a day to meditate and get yourself calm, centered, grounded, available for miracles, available for relationships, available for that makes an enormous difference for people, makes the difference between commission breath and being of service, of authentically being of service to people. And so we've trained our people to take the 10 minutes a day to meditate and train them on how to do that. And the wild thing about mindfulness is it's got a 3,500 year history, goes back pre-Buddha by 1,000 years. And really since the 70s, there's a wealth of scientific data about mindfulness where it literally, physically, you can track it, you can see it in the brain, where it grows the prefrontal cortex, the part that's accountable for reasoning, and it thins the amygdala, the reactive part of the brain. So you're increasing your response ability and decreasing your reactivity physically 10 minutes a day. And it's freaking miraculous for people. So that's aaronhendon.com. They can learn all about me and my trainings and things like that.
Well, man, I will definitely be checking it out. I encourage the listeners to check it out. And more than anything, if you enjoyed this show, share this one. Tag us on social media. Let people
Totally.
know that you spent some time with us. You got something out of it, and it's going to make a difference in your life because that's what we're here to do. So, Aaron, man, thank you again for taking the time out of your day to hang with us. If you guys were here, you liked the show, share it, subscribe, check out Aaron's content. And more than anything, if you have a fun story, you want to share it with us on the show, go to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. Send us your info. Let's get you on here because just like my man Aaron, everyone has a special superpower that they bring to the world. And I absolutely love his because mindfulness will change the game for you. So make sure you follow him. Make sure you follow us. Share the show. And we'll see you on the next one. Go call the damn leads.